For 7 days straight, a federal judge has been trying to get DOJ to answer some pretty basic questions about its use of an 18th century wartime law to send deportation flights to El Salvador. But the judge has been stonewalled at every turn. Today, there was yet another hearing to determine whether Judge James Boasberg could or should vacate the temporary restraining order he instituted on Saturday. The judge expressed deep skepticism about how this administration was carrying out its use of the Alien Enemies Act. It comes as the same judge slammed the DOJ yesterday for what he called its, quote, woefully insufficient response to his order, especially as the government suggested it could claim a potential state secret privilege from even revealing information to the judge proving that the people on the flights were actually the alleged gang members the administration said they were. Yeah, can't make it up, folks. Joining me now are MSNBC political analyst and former Congressman David Jolly, and Catherine Christian, MSNBC legal analyst and former assistant Manhattan District Attorney. Catherine, look, we've seen the Stonewall before. We saw it in the number of litigation matters that Donald Trump was involved in, where everything is what? I can't. Oh, hold on. Let me find my piece of paper. I'll be right back to you, Judge. What's happening here? Help give us some context. And why has the judge shown, I think, extraordinary patience with what he knows to be stonewalling him?
Because now Donald Trump is president of the United States. That's what's happening. And quite frankly, the attorneys who are appearing in court on behalf of DOJ, I feel that they are empowered and they feel emboldened because they literally are directly doing what the president of the United States wants them to do. The judge is not asking about what conversations the government of El Salvador had with the government of the United States, or what was the deal, why did you convince them to take these Venezuelans into custody? He is just asking, when did the plane leave? When did the plane leave U.S. airspace? And when did the Venezuelans get into the custody of El Salvador? Just basic questions to determine whether or not his order was violated. So I think the long leash, so to speak, the judge is giving is because it's the president of the United States.
All right. So what happens next? I mean, at some point, this has got to resolve itself. So does the judge just fold like a cheap suit, or does he enforce some level of order here?
He will have to, well, assuming he gave them to March 25th, gave the government to March 25th to decide, are they going to assert a state secrets privilege, meaning, Your Honor, we can't now reveal this information because it will harm national security, or will they keep just stonewalling? And then the judge will have to, is he going to hold them into contempt, meaning the Department of Justice, because he just can't keep adjourning and adjourning it. You got 2 more days, you got 2 more days. And then we will see what happens. If this is held in contempt, the Department of Justice will appeal that. The long game for the Department of Justice and the administration is to have this go to the United States Supreme Court. And quite frankly, just because 6 members of the court were appointed by Republicans, that doesn't mean that the president will have 6 or even 5 votes in his favor. But he is hoping that that will happen.
Yeah, well, we've seen the setup for that. The president already expressing his gratitude to the court. So David, I'd like to let you hear, just because, well, let's listen to Donald Trump on how he sees his deportation authority.
Mr. President, do you think you have the authority, the power to round up people, deport them, and then you're under no obligation to a court to show the evidence against them?
Well, that's what the law says, and that's what our country needs. When you ask me if we have the authority, did Biden have the authority to allow millions of people to come into our country? Many of these people, hardened criminals.
You can't even begin to understand the twisted logic there, because the fact of the matter is, the law does not allow for that. You've got at least three individuals that have been yanked out of their homes, out of their universities, David, right, that there's no accounting for. No one's talking. What happened to these folks? Why aren't we having that conversation about what's happened to the Georgetown University grad the Brown medicine and doctor, and Khalil, who was targeted and taken away from his 8-month pregnant wife. What's happening here that Trump seems to think he has this blanket authority? I mean, pivot back to Joe Biden. Joe Biden, I mean, allowing people over the border, okay, that's a different conversation than impinging on the rights of citizens.
Michael, this is where there's a political lens and a legal lens, and Donald Trump is only exercising the political lens, and he's presenting misinformation. But Donald Trump is basically asking the American people, do you think these people are bad guys or not? I think they are, so I'm going to deport them. But importantly, through the legal lens, due process still actually means something in the United States, even for bad guys, because it makes sure that the good guys don't get caught up in proceedings like this. And I think through the legal lens, where a typical administration might have a case to stand on is, yeah, there's notionally an interesting executive authority question here about this 1798 Act. We've never seen it invoked in this way. Maybe a traditional Department of Justice would try to litigate this, like you saw Bush 43 with Guantanamo, with the war on terror. Lots of hard questions, but they pursued a certain theory through the courts. That's not what's going on here. What's going on here is a constitutional crisis, because very back of the napkin, I get tired of this whole debate, are we in a constitutional crisis or not? Here's where I'll tell you we are. Constitutional crisis exists when one branch of the government is able to overwhelm and roll over the other two. And in this case, Donald Trump is basically saying, I don't care what the courts say. Pam Bondi is definitely saying, I don't care what the courts say. Caroline Leavitt is saying, we don't care what the courts say. So they are rolling over judicial requirements where the court is basically saying, I don't know if I'll rule with you or not on this 1798 Act, but to rule, I need you to cooperate with the process. And the executive branch, the White House, is saying we're not going to cooperate. And then the other branch, Congress, is just laying down. They're just collapsing. They're saying, we don't care if this is creating a crisis or not. Trump's our guy. We'll go along with it. Donald Trump has reframed this entire issue through a political lens. Maybe it's working for him. Maybe it's not. We'll see. But through the constitutional and legal lens, he is defiling the office that he holds by doing what he's doing right now.